Hello, everyone, and welcome to the July 9th, 2024 meeting of the City of Westminster Planning Commission. I just want to reiterate that if you would like to speak, there's a sign-up sheet in the back of the room for both of the items on today's agenda, if you'd like to sign up. Can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Pegg.
Here.
Commissioner Kinnear.
Present.
Commissioner Zhang.
Present.
Commissioner Mayo.
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Present.
Chair Boschert.
Here.
Commissioner Calling.
Excused?
Commissioner Dunn.
Here.
Commissioner Tomacek.
Excused. Thank you. We have a quorum, and because of some absences, both alternates will be voting tonight. All right, can we get a motion to approve the meeting minutes for March 12th, 2024?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. The motion is passed. The minutes are approved. We have two items on tonight's agenda. First, item 3A, a public hearing and consideration of use by special permit for tattoo body piercing parlor to be known as Victoria Inc. And item 3B, public hearing and recommendation of a public hearing for the official development plan for Uplands Filing 3, Block 1, Track B, PCAC 1A. At this time, I hereby open the public hearing for item 3A, special use permit application, and I ask Mr. Beyerhoff to begin his presentation.
All right, good evening, commissioners. Is the microphone okay? All right, great. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Carson Beyerhoff. I am a planner with the city's planning division. As part of bringing this project before you, a staff agenda memo has been created and tonight's public hearing has been properly noticed. The agenda memo, its associated attachments, tonight's PowerPoint presentation, the public notices published in the Westminster window, the mailed notices, and the posted notices are hereby entered into the public record at this time. The notices of the public hearing were mailed to 471 property owners and tenants within 1,000 feet of the property under consideration tonight. 2 public notification signs were posted on the subject property. The city has also posted the hearing date and time on its website. Here is a map showing the parcel of the proposed use in the Country Club Village subdivision, legally platted as Lot 2B-1, 3rd replat, Country Club Village, filing number 1. The site is generally located on the northeast corner of West 120th Avenue and North Federal Boulevard. The image on the left is from sheet 3 of the official development plan for this development, recorded in 2015. The review and approval of this plan considered site planning for commercial and retail uses, which would have accounted for uses such as the proposed tattoo/body piercing parlor. The ODP would have considered site planning elements, including but not limited to parking, vehicular and pedestrian circulation, landscaping, loading, delivery and trash collection, lighting, emergency access, and the building design. The image on the right highlights the proposed dedicated space within the pre-established tenant spaces that are part of Sola Salon Studios' business model. The space is central to the building and will not be visible from public view from the exterior of the building. The applicant and business owner, Emily Clinton of Victoria Inc., is here tonight and will be able to speak further to the business models of her business and Sola Salon Studios. Under the City of Westminster's Municipal Code, A tattoo body piercing parlor may be permitted with a use by special permit, also known as a special use permit or SUP for short. You may view the definition for body tattoo parlor here. By granting approval of the subject SUP before you, the Planning Commission grants the allowance for this land use only to the current business owner for Victoria Inc. at the specific location. The allowance, once granted, does not run with the land in perpetuity. It may not be transferred to others, and it will be expired if abandoned for a year or more. When staff evaluates an SUP application, 9 criteria are considered. The first 4 criteria are shown on the slide. Staff found that the use proposed with this application would be well suited for the area proposed for it and be similar to operations in the surrounding locations. The visual concerns associated with the proposed use are mitigated by the operation being centrally located in the building and not visible to public view. Outdoor activity would be limited to the typical vehicle and pedestrian traffic already associated with the site. The final 5 criteria are displayed here. Staff found that the proposed use associated with Victoria Inc. would be consistent with the existing surrounding uses, with no outdoor storage. Deliveries and waste disposal are away from high traffic public areas and accounted for with the Salon Studios operations, a use by right for the area. Parking, traffic, and vehicular and pedestrian circulation have been reviewed and approved with the official development plan for this phase of the development in 2015. The proposed use would have been in line with demands and considerations reviewed as part of this plan's approval. In addition to the 9 approval criteria, there are 5 standards that must be considered when reviewing an SUP application. The first of 2 are shown here. Staff finds that the proposed Victoria Inc. will be reasonably compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. The proposed use is not in conflict with the policies of the comprehensive plan. The final 3 standards are shown on the slide. Tattoo body piercing studios are limited to 1 operation within a 1,000-foot radius. Staff has found that there are no other licensed tattoo body piercing parlors within this radius in the city of Westminster, as shown by the image on the right. In addition, the applicant has confirmed that the closest tattoo parlors outside of Westminster's jurisdiction are over 2 miles away from the location. The other distance limitations for the standard under review, or subsections A, B, D, and E, are for other uses and not applicable to this application. The following standards 4 and 5 are also not applicable to this application, as the proposed use is not an ambulance service and is not part of a special use under a special plan for the area. Staff recommends the holding of tonight's public hearing and granting approval of this SUP by the Planning Commission as detailed in the in the agenda memo. Approval of the proposed SUP helps to promote and support a resilient economy that attracts and retains a diversity of businesses, workers, and industries, expands living wage jobs, and diversifies the city's tax base by providing new economic opportunities and bringing new services to the community. The proposed application meets the standards and guidelines of the Westminster's Municipal Code and other applicable requirements. The applicant is here with us tonight and has a presentation to share with you as well. This concludes staff presentation, and thank you for your attention. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me okay? Awesome. My name's Emily. I am the sole owner of Victoria Inc., and I'm hoping to join you guys here in Westminster. So my proposal is to open up my tattoo parlor inside the pre-existing Sola salons. It specifically leans more towards service-based, people like myself. And I would like to show you guys that today. So as you saw, this is the vicinity map. This is the building that I will hopefully be able to reside in. I am on the interior, so like he had mentioned, you cannot see me from the exterior, just in case anyone who is worried about seeing any tattoo signs or anything like that. So it's already, again, like I had said, pre-existing. And there's a lot of hairdressers, estheticians, massage therapists, some other solar salons outside of Westminster do have tattoo parlors in them as well. The booths are ample storage, and they have their own sinks and everything else that I do need for my own studio. As you had seen already as well, this is the interior. Where I am located is, again, on the interior of the building. The exterior has other salons that do have windows that you can see into, but I am not one of those. So then I'm a visual person, so I just wanted to go ahead and show you guys exactly what that would look like for you guys. So this is the exterior of the building. When you walk in, it is a square, and there are rooms on either side. This would be the one that I'm hoping to be able to reside in. Again, interior, it is a corner. And as you can see, it has ample storage, its own private sink, doors that lock. I like to keep everything kind of concealed, closed off for any germs or anything like that. There's ample lighting. The sink reaches the correct temperature, which is important to me as well, just for sterilization and things like that. Everything is wipeable, walls, ceiling. I would have the tiles changed out to be appropriate for that as well as the floor being, wipeable, moppable, that kind of thing. So I have been running since 2020 in a pre-existing shop out in Brighton, and I am proud to say that I am ready to take the next step in opening up my own space. And I would be working from Tuesday through Saturday from about noon to about 6:30. And if it takes a little longer, then of course I would finish the tattoo. And I already have a very established base. Some people coming from Westminster and a lot outside of Westminster. Including firefighters, moms, dads, teachers, working class as well. And I will be the sole artist, so I will not be having any apprentices, anyone else working in there. I do want to keep it very small, just myself. That way I can control everything and keep it how I would like. I am a bit of a germaphobe, so I very much stick with all of the cleaning and sterile, ratios, environments, all of that kind of stuff. And I always stay up to date on the health department and any kind of, regulations or any tests or anything like that that I must take. So for my client's safety, I take that very seriously. There are fire alarms set in every room in the building, and I also will be keeping a fire extinguisher in the unit as well. As I had said, I do keep up with my health department inspections, which happens at least once a year, which is random, so it's not like I can plan for it or anything like that. And I do take the bloodborne pathogens exam, and I re-examine every year to have up-to-date certificates and things like that. I use all single-use equipment, so nothing is going to be used on a client more than once. I also use all medical-grade cleaning supplies, so things you would find in hospitals. And each client receives an aftercare guide, which I verbally go over, as well as give them a physical copy for themselves as well. And of course, pre-tattoo consultation, I make sure that they love what they want, and if they have any questions, to have the time to go ahead and explain that. So here are the entrances and exits. I am the box, and then closest exit is going to be the front doors, which is the bottom arrow, with 2 exits in the back if need be. As far as the traffic access and everything like that, there's ample parking spots that go around the entire building, as well as a parking lot in the same shopping facility area. There is crosswalks, and it's not straight off of the busy highway or road there, so people don't have to worry about, through traffic or anything like that. And it is very accessible for anyone that needs a wheelchair or anything like that, as well as the doors in the building are wide enough for that as well. Compatibility with the properties around me. A lot of my clientele love to get lunch and things like and shopping and all of that fun stuff either before or after, which I love because that's going to bring more business to the surrounding restaurants and small businesses around my area as well. There's new potential clients for the other hairstylists and massage therapists in the building as well, which I love to help everyone if possible. Because there is no other tattoo studios in the close proximity, it will offer an alternative to what's available in the area, which I personally love. And the established commercial building is already there and active in use, and I would be helping to keep it active. Impact on the neighborhood. It's not visible from the street, like I have said many times. So clients that are worried about, property and views that might have a little outdated looks and things like that don't have to worry about big signage or anything like that. I will not be posting any kind of advertisement for the tattoo shop on the outside of the building. There would be my logo on the door of my actual unit. So that is how I would go about advertising myself. And then due to only having an average about 2 clients a day, parking lot is not going to be overfilled due to my clientele. There'll be usually about 1 to 2 cars a day. And then I do not do anything gang related or negatively looked down upon. I would happily cover anything like that for anyone because, of course, but any worries about anything like that, I do not approve of anything like that either. And then I do scar cover-ups as well as tattoo rebuilds just to make everybody love their body fully. So the adverse impacts for individuals that are concerned about the value of the property being affected, I am located on the interior, and there will be no exterior signs, which I believe I already covered. The closest tattoo parlors are about 2 miles away, a little over. The closest one is in North Glen. So I would be hopefully bringing customers from North Glen and Broomfield to Westminster to help our tax revenue here. And then here are just some client testimonials. If there's any questions or anything, you guys can go ahead and read through some of my very loved clientele.
Okay, I think we've had time to read it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
At this time, I would like to go ahead and open the public testimony on this item. And I would first ask, do we have any email or voicemail for the record?
We do not.
All right, thank you. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak in favor or against this?
Point of order, I think there was an email in the packet.
Yes, and I believe that's been entered into the public record.
I understand now, sorry.
Is that correct? All right. It looks like there is, please come on up. Go ahead and state your name and give us your address.
Perfect. My name is Emily Lorton, and my home address or the location address?
Whatever you're comfortable with.
1079 North Downing, Denver, Colorado, 80218.
Thank you. And please limit it to 3 minutes. Thanks.
I am the manager for the location that is in question. I would just like to speak to the level of professionalism that Emily has shown. I cannot even begin to tell you the excitement that is going on in our location for her to arrive. I've been mixed up for that Emily once or twice, and I've been disappointing people, unfortunately, but hopefully after tonight, we're all good. That location's been open for 6 years. It's a really close-knit community. A lot of the women live nearby, and they are so excited for her to be here. We want to create an environment with creativity, where people can be themselves, and I just think she would just be an immaculate fit. As she stated, we do have other locations with tattoo artists. We have contacted the property manager. I spoke to her again today. She is very excited. Her name is Cindy. Everything on that end is looking great, and we are just truly excited to have her join us by all means.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Not seeing any, I will close the public testimony and ask commissioners if they have any questions for the applicant or for staff. Commissioner Carpenter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have one question for staff. The email testimony mentioned that was against this proposal because of the number of tattoo parlors that are in the city. Can any of you speak to how many tattoo parlors are within the city limits of Westminster currently?
Hi, Vice Chair, thank you for that question. According to our records with the clerk, there are 4 other licensed businesses. Let me go over to this map. This might be a little bit hard to see on your end, but there are, so up in this area on the very far right, this would be Emily Clinton's business over here, and these other circled areas are within the City of Westminster's jurisdiction. Okay. And that blue line outlines the City of Westminster's jurisdiction.
Okay, so there's only four tattoo parlors currently in the City of Westminster, a city of 116,000 people.
That is what we understand. Yes.
Great.
That are licensed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners? Commissioner Dunn.
Not so much a question as a compliment. I would like to compliment Ms. Clinton and the rest for your presentation here. Also to Carson. My wife gets her hair done in a similar location up at the Orchard. And I'm not sure which one that is, but it's a perfect setup, and there shouldn't be any reason to vote against you guys. I definitely will support this motion.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? With that, I will entertain a motion on this item.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Carpenter.
Great, thanks. I move that the Planning Commission approve a special use permit for a tattoo body piercing parlor for Victoria Inc. to operate at Country Club Village subdivision, subject to the rules and requirements of Section 11-4-8 of the Westminster Municipal Code and all other applicable city codes and regulations.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Who was that?
That was me.
Commissioner Pegg, thank you. All right, I will go ahead and call the vote. Do we need a roll call? Okay.
Commissioner Pegg,
Aye.
in favor. Commissioner Kinnear,
In favor.
Commissioner Zhang,
Yes.
Commissioner Mayo,
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter,
Yes.
Chair Boschert,
Yes,
Commissioner Dunn.
Yes.
the motion passes unanimously. Thank you for your presentation.
Welcome to Westminster.
Yeah, welcome to Westminster. It's wonderful to have you. All right. Do we need to take a bio break? I didn't think so. Okay, if anyone needs a break, please let me know. I hereby open the public hearing for item 3B, public hearing and recommendation of an official development plan for Uplands Filing 3, Block 1, Track B, PAC 1A. And I believe this is Planner Kaza? Senior Planner, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chairperson Boschert. If you're ready, I'll go ahead and start my presentation.
Yes, please go ahead.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jacob Kaza, Senior Planner at the City's Planning Division. As a part of bringing this project before you, a staff agenda memo has been created and tonight's public hearing has been properly noticed. The agenda memo, its associated attachments, tonight's PowerPoint presentation, the public notices published in the Westminster window, the mailed notices, and the posted notices are hereby entered into the public record at this time. The notices of the public hearing were mailed to 1,053 property owners and tenants within 1,000 feet of the parcel under consideration tonight. 2 public notification signs were posted on the subject property. The city has also posted the hearing date and time on its website. Here's a map of Tract B, Block 1, filing number 3 of the Uplands development. The project site is located southwest of the intersection of Decatur Street and 88th Avenue. The boundary in red is the 2 acres that would be developed under this proposal. The site plan is from sheet 13 of the ODP. You can see the position of the building adjacent to Decatur Street, which serves as the aerial apparatus access road. The publicly accessible private park is located north of the building and the courtyard in the center. The parking lot is located to the west of the building with a dog run planned in the large parking lot island. Section 11.5.15 of the Westminster Municipal Code contains 17 criteria that are to be considered when reviewing official development plans. Staff finds that the official development plan generally meets these criteria as outlined in the agenda memo. Staff's recommendation is to hold a public hearing and recommend that City Council approve the ODP. Staff finds that a recommendation of approval of the applications would meet the city's strategic priorities of access to opportunity and economic vitality is met through the creation of new affordable housing that will allow for a diversity of residents to make Westminster their home while also increasing the commercial property in the city in a mixed-use building. The applicant is with us tonight and has a presentation to share with you as well. And thank you for your attention. We have several staff members with us this evening and we would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you.
Yeah, you just want to hit the arrow. Perfect.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Marcus Pochner. I'm a land use and community outreach consultant to the Uplands team. We very much look forward to, I think we're ready to go here. There we go. To giving you a presentation tonight on area C1A. As you all know, we'll provide a little background on just the overall Uplands to keep everyone up to date on where we are in the neighborhood development and then turn our focus specifically to the application that is before you tonight. We have a very experienced team that is leading this. We are here today on behalf of Maker Housing Partners, the affordable housing partner on this site and lead. We have great architects, planners, partners from Adams County on the Head Start program, and then our engineering team as well. So as you all know, affordable housing takes a remarkable effort between teams to get a project financed and approved, and very happy to work and represent this team. Our overview tonight, the snapshot that we're going to cover, as always, Jacob had a very thorough staff report. We wanted to provide a little bit about the Uplands, talk about the comprehensive plan, the background for C1, talk then and introduce you to Maker, and then really introduce you to our neighborhood plan for this 2-acre site, but a very, very important site. And then, as always, detail the exceptions that we are requesting and the standards for approval. Do want to just show you overall, you certainly know the Uplands plan. This is parcel A in the middle. Tonight we are focused on parcel C, which is on the right of your screen, and that smaller parcel, C1A, which is a 2-acre, just over 2-acre parcel in the site. We have actually had a lot of focus on the C neighborhood as there's been a lot of activity there, and we've been very excited about that. As Jacob detailed, we've sent this notice to over 1,600 residents within 1,000 feet of the site. Panorama Point, a number of residences that are very much on the east side there of Federal. You can see the buffer spilling into Shaw Heights as well. Our Uplands update, just to give you an update on that, we continue to do our quarterly meetings on the third Thursday of the second month of the quarter. We are having great turnout at those meetings. We are giving more construction updates as the neighborhoods move forward. I was just over at the site a few minutes ago. There is a lot of activity, construction activity. We understand that it's frustrating and there is change and there are challenges, and we completely get that. We try to have these meetings to actually detail some of the construction schedules as much as we can and try to put that out there. I just was on, there's a lot of changes, particularly on 88th and Lowell right now. This is a site that you've all seen, a map that really shows the trunk infrastructure that is being developed on Uplands, the blue, the water lines that are coming in. You see us venturing across Federal there into Parcel C, the new full movement intersection that will happen at 86th and Federal. Then you see the stormwater and the storm sewer improvements that are happening and the drainage improvements, most of which are being constructed right now down Shaw Boulevard to the west of the site. This is a map that shows a lot, but it actually is probably our most useful map to just show you the overall coordination for the Uplands community and then neighborhood by neighborhood. As you see, we are again on the east side of Federal. You see 88th and Federal just south of Eagles, but you see kind of the activity of what's happening there. There was a PLD, a park that was dedicated there, and then an affordable housing site that was approved by City Council in April of this year, just to the east of this site. There's another site for Crown Point, south of us, that is coming before this group in the end of July, but it shows you kind of the focus on that. Then the yellow areas are also through the city review process, headed to Planning Commission and to City Council. But it gives you an idea of the site plan and the integration, and that we are actually active in all 4 of the neighborhoods, A, B, C, and D, with neighborhoods moving forward. Just something we don't ever want to lose sight of is the promises and commitments we made on water conservation. As you all probably recall in the PDP discussions, we were granted and had always had 778 acre feet for this site. We made a commitment to save 100 acre feet from that, so 678 acre feet was our commitment. The chart that you see on the right is actually where our neighborhoods, as they've been approved, are coming out in water usage. So when you see there an acre foot or 2 less than that, that's already below that 100 acre foot savings. We're doing that by inside the house and outside the house, water savings and the energy appliances that we're using. We're actually going to talk a little bit more on electrification items that we're moving forward with as well on this neighborhood. This just shows a graphic that you've all seen, just over 40 acres on PLD and View Corridor. We include this to show, again, that public land dedication site just to the east of the site, just over 3 acres. We're also very happy to say that all of these tracts have been dedicated now. All of the PLD has been dedicated, and all of the fees in lieu have been paid to the city. So it is completely within city's hands on all of these acres, and the city leading that process forward. We're very proud that that step has been taken. That corresponds to this, the neighborhood layouts. You really see the bike and pedestrian connectivity. Pretty remarkably to see all the kind of fabric that's being established along Federal. There on the west side, you see a 10-foot multi-use trail, and then on the east side, you see an 8-foot sidewalk that is being constructed on Federal. You see the 6-foot trails, kind of the orange trails all around this site. And then on the north side on 88, the 10-foot multi-use trail goes to Cammonish Park and extends on to the east to the Highland Hills. So really seeing for the first time true public and pedestrian infrastructure on the east side of Federal. This is now my pleasure to introduce Chuck Christian with Maker Housing Partners. He's going to tell a little bit about Maker and the application that is before you. Then we'll come back and go through the planning documents.
Thank you, Marcus. Good evening, Commission. As Marcus said, my name is Chuck Christian. I'm a housing developer with Maker. I'm sure some of you are familiar with Maker Housing Partners, probably more familiar with the entity more than myself. I'm newer on the team, but we're very happy, very proud to show this. As Marcus said, we have an elite team and been working on this one for a long time. When it comes to Maker Housing Partners, we're the Adams County Housing Authority, 2,200 affordable homes. And we build mostly to build communities and to build homes that people wish to live in. A community that is beautiful, a community that is affordable, and a community that is sustainable are things that we push forward. These are in addition to The housing, these are, this is a list of additional services that we provide: housing vouchers, rent and utility assistance, community engagement programs. My personal favorite is the job training and financial coaching. This is an example of 3 of our past developments. What's not shown here is Crossing Point South, a newer 120 unit multifamily community in Thornton. And then this is this is our average median income chart. So the 1 bedroom, the 2 bedroom is the highest amount of rent that we can charge. The AMI, average median income, 30, 40, 50, that is respective to one's income. And then the amounts, so you'd have to make at or below that household. And these are the typical occupations. As you see, there are a lot of necessary and good professions, and these days the AMI is high. This is our unit mix. We're looking at 22 2 bedrooms, 48 1 bedroom units. The capture rate is probably my favorite column on this chart. So it's 1.2%. So it's the total amount of demand over the current supply. And so I mean 1.2 basically means that there is 100 for every 100 units, or for every 100 people that are looking for this at 30% AMI, there's only 1 unit available. And for this population, there's a typo on there, but for 30% AMIs, and this includes our PBV vouchers, we are targeting the intellectually and developmentally disabled population. At our community, we are designing, we're taking unique architectural elements to help build an inclusive community that is built to keep neighbors and to keep the whole community together. So every single unit, every single IDD unit is properly diverse throughout the development. We reached out to a development firm in California called the Kelsey, and they have like a list of standards, a list of architectural standards and other features that we chose to incorporate, and these are all voluntary. We've reached the essential certification. An example of that would be like non-slip LVP flooring. Another example would be like color-coded corridors and unique identifiers in each like light switch and other things to help people feel more at home. Additionally, we're also offering a concierge service via North Metro. So on the whole, we're dedicating 25% of our units to the IDD population, and according to North Metro, North Metro is only serving 10 current IDD units for individuals, and for those with that condition. So this is our list of funding, BABs, state grants, tax credits, which does remind me, we're applying for our state tax credits in August 1st. And pursuant to one of the conditions, we do need to state how much we are applying for. So Maker Uplands is going to cost $35 million to construct. Maker will request approximately $1.8 million in annual state affordable housing tax credit allocation, which equals $10.8 million in total allocation. The result would approximately be $10.8 million in state equity and gives a present value of 7.4. I had to say that for the application. So there you go. Moving on though, so yes, this is a mixed-use development, right? So so our anchor tenant here is the Head Start program, the early child care. They are a preschool, ages 3 to 5, and they serve low AMI families, I believe 60 AMIs and lower. It's a service both to the children and the parents, particularly there are studies that are available on Head Start's website that children enrolled in preschools are more likely to graduate from high school, therefore college, social, emotional, and behavioral development. And again, this is all low AMI and it's free of charge. We're very happy and very blessed to have them at our development. Now I'm going to pass the torch back to Marcus.
Thank you, Chuck. We're going to go through the neighborhood plan. Thank you for your diligence. I know we have kind of a full presentation. We just want to be sure and provide all the background. I'll go through this portion pretty quickly. As you all know, the PDP originally approved under the Comprehensive Plan, 2013 Comprehensive Plan, very consistent mixed-use designation, calling for the same dwelling units per acre on this site, always envisioned as a multifamily use. You can see the other uses that are allowed there staying consistent. In 2040, the adoption of that plan, now called commercial mixed use. I should certainly note there was a very strong encouragement requirement for a combination with the commercial use on the ground floor. You can see the permitted FAR on the combined residential and commercial. We'll talk a little bit more about that use and certainly how Head Start is fulfilling part of that requirement. As we look at the PDP itself, this is a document that was approved. This shows, again, the 1A site, that corner there, bounded between Federal and Decatur, just south of 88th. Again, completely consistent across all of C1. 370 units are allowed. We are part and parcel, obviously, of that overall site, providing 70 units here today. This shows a little bit, and I certainly won't do enough justice to really the great planning that's gone on to this site. Just over 2 acres, a 4-story, as you've seen in the images. This is a mixed-use building. You can see the 48 one-bedroom and 22 two-bedroom units, and that 7,000 plus square feet of commercial for the Head Start. Again, a fully integrated kind of wraparound services for the individual and families that will be on this site. You can see the IDD community. That's who we're hoping to serve with the families and the 52 units for the families, and then 18 units for the IDD population. A very needed housing typology. The amenities reflect the population and the intelligent design that we really do in these type of communities to provide for. So you see a lot of those amenities that really allow for proper care and providing of services, and really provide also just a terrific neighborhood throughout all the C neighborhood. This does show, again, the parking spaces. We are, just to show the integration, there are guest parking, the 81 parking spaces that are required there, and then 25 spaces for the Head Start program. So again, people coming in and employees. We have learned certainly from the chair and discussions with the Planning Commission, we are hoping to be all electric on this community. We are building it as an electric ready community, solar panels on the rooftop, walkways, and carports. And then obviously all the supporting studies that go along to this, the traffic study and all of the different analysis that have been completed. We always show kind of our PDP compliance just to show you that we are trying to follow all the guidance that are there. I'd go to this second overall bullet there. 300 units are required of affordable housing. With this approval, we would be at 317 units, exceeding the affordable housing on the Upland site. You then see, as it's specific to the C1 neighborhood, completely in line with the requirements, the public accessible private parks. And we're going to talk, of course, about some of the exceptions we have on the perimeter setbacks, but it gives you just how we'll fit in overall to the overall C1 neighborhood. I'll now turn it over to Kaylee Gillespie with Norris Design. Kaylee will walk through the site plan and provide a little more guidance, and then we'll wrap it up. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks, Marcus. Good evening, Commissioners. Kaylee Gillespie with Norris Design. I'll be walking you through the specifics of the neighborhood plan for C1A neighborhood within the Uplands community. Here denotes how the C1A neighborhood fits into the overall plan for the parcel C1. Across Decatur Street to the east is the 3 acres of PLD land, which has been dedicated to the city as PLD. To the south of 86th Place, the southern end of the C1 neighborhood, is proposed the Crown Point Academy. The remainder of the parcel shown in the 2 empty boxes will feature future development that has not yet been designed. The main access into the community is provided off of 88th Avenue and another access off of West 87th Avenue. The 4-story building has been strategically placed along Decatur Street to front close to the public land dedication and future park, while also activating the perimeter streets. Within the parking lot, there are 32 carport spaces that are provided for residents, a large central dog park that is placed in the center of the parking area, and located at the northern edge along the regional trail is our publicly accessible private park. The Head Start commercial space is located on the southern edge, the southernmost portion of the building, accompanied by outdoor space, which will host the 3 to 5 year age range playground, which will also be open to the community's residents with children of that age range. Next, we're gonna walk through the setbacks. The buildings have been placed close to Decatur, shown in green on the right-hand side of the screen. It's a small little sliver there, due to the fire department needs for aerial access to the balconies and the building roof. A 37-foot setback is provided along 88th Avenue in blue, and a 23-foot setback along 87th Place in pink. And then lastly, a 167-foot setback is provided adjacent to the C1B parcel on the west-hand side. The proposed neighborhood provides greater connections through a 10-foot regional trail from Federal Boulevard to the future park space, the Kamenish Park, and several sidewalks are provided internal that wrap the building and connect the dog park and to the greater pedestrian network. Next, we're gonna talk a little bit about the building and architectural character. The architecture pulls inspiration from the local landmarks, such as the Westminster Castle and other highlighted Colorado places, such as Mesa Verde, through coloring, striations, textures that are incorporated into the building facade and form. Here you can see how this inspiration is reflected in the brick color choices and how the building will look from 88th Avenue in Decatur. This image shows the building from further west on 88th coming from Federal Boulevard. This image is taken from the southern side and shows where the playground will be for the Head Start program on the right-hand side of the screen. These enlargement illustrative graphics are showing the greater detail of the outdoor amenities that this community will provide. The top right image is a publicly accessible private park, which is our sensory garden located in the northeastern edge of our community. And the bottom image is our private courtyard, which features a grill, eating area, an art centerpiece, a trellis, and other social elements with green space for residents to enjoy. This rendering is looking into that courtyard that we just talked about. In the upper left, you can see where the roof deck will overlook this area facing west. And this plan here shows the Head Start Playground program concept. This program is aimed to support and promote the sensory, dramatic play, and muscle play to support development and growth of kids from ages 3 to 5. Head Start is located within the commercial portion, and we will have its own building entrance for ease and pickup and drop off, as well as reserved parking spaces adjacent to. This neighborhood requests a couple of exceptions from the city standards and code, which generally are requested to allow the best design possible for residents and provide high quality housing and achieve various goals within Uplands. Within our site-specific ODP, we'll be asking for a couple of exceptions to the city's regulations. Exceptions have always been anticipated within Uplands in order to comply with the vision established in the Uplands PDP and provide much-needed housing within the city of Westminster. City code also supports the need for these exceptions. Uplands is zoned PUD, defined here, and the zone district is specifically intended to integrate land use and site conditions as a unit. Fully utilize the physical characteristics of the site through the reductions of setbacks and bulk restrictions to provide diversification, flexibility of housing types, housing prices, and overall design. This bolded list outlines the exceptions being requested to the multifamily design standards. All are outlined and justified in the ODP and within the standards of approval provided with your packet. An exception to the earth berming is requested as it will further disconnect and limit the street activation. In lieu of, additional plantings are provided to help screen without disturbing the aerial apparatus. The provided commercial space is slightly lower than the 0.1 minimum requirement FAR. This proposal meets the exact needs for the Head Start program by providing right-sized commercial space. As a public agency, any additional space would not be desirable and would increase overhead costs of this publicly funded program. We have designed this space to their needs and to also keep with the constraints set by the state and federal funding agencies. A rundown of the financial hurdles that this affects also has been submitted and is part of the standards of approval narrative. The site features a large parking lot accompanying 102 spaces. 18 of those are adjacent and will be on street. Between the two options, the provided parking meets the total parking requirement, but in an alternate way. An entry median is not desirable due to the additional road width that it requires in order to maximize the availability of parking and maintain the same number of units. An alternative entry landscaping is proposed on the side of the entry drive. This building features multiple elements which create a cohesive style and structure. Because of this, the code step downs and massing requirements are not met. Alternative elements such as visual step back at the top roof, including a slight recess from the face of the brick, as well as recessed and cantilever balconies and patios provided on all units, providing the building with opportunities for massing relief. As part of the Upland's sustainability commitments, low reflective cool roofs are required for larger buildings. This is in conflict with the roof pitch and material requirements within the multifamily design standards. And due to the size of our site, a reduction in the overall landscape area is also requested. Similarly, the landscape plantings have been strategically moved to ensure they are placed where they can be enjoyed as much as possible. Plant counts meet the required amounts, but are just provided in different locations. A couple other exceptions we are requesting are more technical in nature, like the location of the trash room, which will service the building. There is not enough room to bring the trash truck into the parking lot, so it is located on Decatur. The proposed curb cut has been approved by city engineers. Similarly, water meter pit locations have been altered slightly, which have been reviewed and approved by city engineers. And the rooftop mechanical equipment will not be visible from the street as shown in the screening exhibit submitted in the ODP and within the standards of approval narrative. And finally, we're requesting exceptions to the proposed building and site setbacks. In general, reducing these allow for the community to be designed to its max potential, providing the much needed affordable housing within Westminster. And instead of featuring large non-functional landscape areas which would require extensive water and maintenance, the request is aligned with both the Uplands and City of Westminster sustainability goals. Further, we've worked closely with the fire department as they require closer access to their aerial access ladders, which require the buildings to move closer to Decatur Street. I'm going to hand this back to Marcus to walk us through the remainder of the presentation.
We just have our last few slides. Thank you, Kaylee. This is just, as you all know, the approvals, the standard of approvals. We went through them again. Jacob had a very detailed staff analysis, and we submitted a document on that as well. Just again, staying consistent with the underlying PDP, and we certainly believe being sound, creative, and innovative and efficient planning. Again, really remarkable to pull off this affordable housing site here and a site that is so needed. Again, stressing the PLD, the 3-acre park just to the east of this site and how that's integrated. Again, just showing our PDP compliance, fully in compliance with the requirements for affordable housing, looking at the gross density across the site and the park dedications, and then certainly detailing the exceptions that we have asked for. We very much appreciate all your attention to this, and again, we would respectfully request your support for this, and our whole team is here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have a quick question for staff. I wanted to ask if you have reviewed the changes in setbacks and are in agreement with them.
Yes, Chairperson, we have reviewed those setbacks as part of our staff review of the ODP, and we are recommending approval of those exceptions.
Great, thank you. Any other questions from commissioners? Commissioner Carpenter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple questions. One of the emails that was in our packet mentioned stormwater. We're not having a water quality pond on site. I assume that this is getting piped downhill to the water quality / EDB on parcel A, but could you just address that, please?
Sure. Will you please introduce yourself as well?
Hello, I'm Kyle Godwin with Wilson & Company, the civil engineer. Yes, this area and majority of Uplands is going to the regional detention and water quality pond to the east of our site, a couple of blocks. It's east of the dedicated land. And we currently meet all of the master development for the sizing of that pond, being
Great.
designed by others.
Okay, got it. Great, thank you. Thank you. And I guess the other one is for staff. And it seems like this, some of these exceptions are very minor, but we keep getting the exception for the entrance median. It just seems like if everybody gets an exception, why do we need to update our code to just get rid of the entrance medians? Because we've had those on half a dozen projects recently, it seems like.
Sure, Acting Vice Chair Carpenter. So I would say that our standards are generally written for larger greenfield development in a more suburban pattern. We've seen, and I think we'll see a lot in the future, of development that's more redevelopment, smaller infill sites, and not having as much space to take up those. On other neighborhoods in Uplands, they are providing those entry medians. They are a good speed control mitigation at intersections, and they also allow pedestrians to have a place to pause. So if this project just being the size of it, and given that their entrance is directly straight into a parking lot, we don't think it's appropriate or necessary for them to provide one on the site.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Gaza. Appreciate that. And I'm sorry, I do have a third question, I think it's for the applicant. There was talking about the roof, the material standards for the roof. Instead of using high quality materials or the material list that the city is using, talk about the TPO / EPDM. What does that stand for, and how is that significantly different from what the standards are?
No problem. My name is Derek Westby. I'm with Van Meter Williams Pollock, Mr. Carpenter. We are going after a low slope roof, which is warranting a TPO roof in this case. It would be a cool roof, so it is a white or a pretty bright, so a high or a low albedo, high reflectivity roof. So that's what's driving or warranting that material for the roof. And a lot of low slope roofs, TPO or EPDM, are really the most suitable product for that.
Okay, and as a flat roof, it's going to be facing up, so you're not going to you wouldn't be able to see it from the ground regardless.
That's correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Just for my curiosity, can you tell me what TPO and EPDM mean?
What is it? Thermopolyethylene. I'm trying to think what the O would be. But they're very similar products as well.
Okay.
They're single membrane. They'll be fully adhered to the roof. And EPDM is a sister product to TPO. So you'll see those pretty synonymously.
Okay. So it's a membrane that goes on the roofing. Okay. Thank you for explaining the mechanism there. It helps my engineering brain.
No problem.
Great. Thank you.
Good question. Thank you, Commissioner Carpenter. Any other questions? Okay, at this time, I would like to open the public testimony portion of the hearing. And I would ask that if you signed up, that you will be called in order of your sign up. If not, you will still be allowed to speak. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. And Planner Baden, do we have any email or voicemail?
No emails or voicemails, but we do have one signed up on the sheet.
Okay. Why don't we go ahead and start that?
John Palmer, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. First off, under the advice of legal counsel, again, I'm going to bring forth the conflict of interest contrary to what the city attorney has told you, which is bad information. So that being said, it's on the record. Next, could you bring up slide 25, please, if possible? This shouldn't cut into my time. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know if you guys have access to slide 25, but geez, I could be wrong, but where it says Lowell, is that really Lowell? I believe that's more like federal. I thought these people were professionals in their presentations. That shows you the quality of these Uplands projects. Next, I would like to know, are they in good standing with the city? The Uplands people have had multiple stormwater violations, and I'm not sure where we're at with those, if they're in good standing by their fines or they've come into compliance. Another thing I'd like to talk about is they keep touting this traffic light at 86th and Federal. CDOT has no plans of doing that at this point. It's all rose-colored glasses from these people. The water usage that they're touting for their Uplands project overall is not correct. They're not telling you about the thousands and thousands of gallons of water they're using for dust mitigation. That's not into this number that they're feeding you. That's a misnomer. Another thing that I think needs to be clarified is when this project moves on to streets, et cetera, street work being done, I hope they do a better job than they've done in the past month with the closure of Lowell, the closure of 84th, the closure of Bradburn Drive, the closure of Circle and Shaw, all without notification, just like they had touted on their website that they would do a knock and talk with everybody on Shaw and Circle to let them know what's going on. They didn't do that. Are they going to do that to these same people up in that neighborhood? When they put in detours, the detour signs don't take you anywhere or they're not there. Again, Uplands, are they going to do the same thing with this project to these people? Also, would like to know about this water line they're proposing going under Federal. How is that going to play out with CDOT? Has that been approved? They need water for this project. That's part of it. Also, let's roll back to the food desert. They're building a affordable housing project in the middle of a food desert with no future plans for a store or any amenities for these people that are living here. I think that all needs to be taken into consideration before you approve this. Those are my major concerns, but I do hope you check into the good standing of these Uplands people, because I don't believe they're in good standing right now. Last I spoke with the building division. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else who wishes to speak on this item? Seeing no one willing to speak, I will close the public testimony and ask if there are any questions from commissioners for either the applicant or for staff. Commissioner Carpenter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I would like to always thank Mr. Palmer for bringing that up. I am on the board of the Westminster Chamber of Commerce. The Uplands is also a member of the Westminster Chamber of Commerce. I have never been in a board meeting room or a meeting where the Uplands has been discussed. I have no financial interest in the Uplands project, and I'm able to fairly and impartially judge this based on the evidence per the Westminster Municipal Code. So after that, I think there's I think there's a couple questions we can ask, though. As far as maybe this is for the applicant, there have been a number of stormwater violations on the A parcel. What steps have you learned from that, and how will the applicant work on that to prevent that from happening under construction of this project?
Sure. Thank you very much for the question, and to the neighbor for speaking. Honestly, the neighbors have made us so much better on this site. They've actually worked through some of those challenges. We know construction is hard, and we acknowledge that. We've certainly made some mistakes. We have had two pretty dramatic storm events, water events, that happened right when we were on our over X grading that was happening there. So I think it reinforces that the city really is enforcing all requirements. We were cited on those. We went through that process to be sure that we came into compliance, and we have learned a great deal about how to try to plan for that in the future. I just drove the detour sign loop just a few minutes ago, so we're trying to be as upfront and forward as we can. We're also having these quarterly meetings where we generally walk through construction schedules. It was a great suggestion by the city manager to do that. We have them, the city of Westminster hosts them and puts it there where people can do it and on our website. So we're trying our best, I think, to do it. Can we do a lot better? Yes, we'll continue to do so. I think one of the great challenges is just working this site that is always, it's an infill site in so many ways, right? And Lowell is a challenge because of existing traffic, right? And how we're making that, but the improvements are really coming. As I said, 88th for the first time has a trail and a sidewalk on the south side, a 10-foot trail that looks terrific, and it's gonna really help the neighborhood as well. The realignment of 88th and Federal is going through that. As to the suggestions about the light at 86th and light, we have to go through every approval process. And when CDOT approves those, then we're able to move forward. We have applications moving forward on all of that, but that's part of the global infrastructure plan outside of this hearing, but that is the process we think is very appropriate to share that always.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, getting a traffic light and making sure it's warranted and all that, I get that there's some issues there. And I will say that when I first found the detour, I also found it very confusing. And
I made a wrong turn on Shaw just a few minutes ago, so I will call that in. I should say, sir, if I can, I want to be sure and reinforce the comment that was made about the food desert. A grocery store closed across Federal years ago because there weren't enough rooftops on this site. So we're actually bringing forward good planning to reopen that. We have the strongest interest we have had for a grocery store across Federal at 86th because of that stoplight, because of pedestrian traffic, and because of rooftops. We are getting interest from grocery stores. We couldn't agree more, and it will fully serve an affordable and full market rate community, a complete community that we think should live on this site and have those amenities.
Great, thank you very much for that. I do have one more question. This is for staff based on, that's probably for Mr. Klein as an engineer, but talking about the water calculations and the assertion that the construction dusty watering should be included in the acre feet that the Uplands is using. Can you address that, Mr. Klein, please?
Yeah, good evening, Heath Klein, Assistant City Engineer, Development and Mobility, and good evening, Commission. So the question about the temporary use or temporary fire hydrant that supplies the water for the site, yes, they are using quite a bit of water, but it is within the realm of what was anticipated for development, and we do have that water to serve as if there were houses there. Currently, the construction water does not exceed any of what was anticipated for a developed and built out site. So the water use is within the range of what we were expecting to see.
Great. That was my question. Thank you very much about that. Yeah. All right, I think those are all my questions for the moment. Thank you.
I have one quick question for staff, and I'd like to address this. It's a comment made by a citizen in an email, and this citizen claims that this project does not meet the basic Westminster criteria for multifamily housing. And I don't know if you can address that, Jacob, or if someone else does this project meet the basic criteria for multifamily housing?
Chairperson Bosser, not entirely sure what the comment means about the basic criteria for it. It is multifamily housing units, so in the city of Westminster, that's multiple dwelling units in one building where they are stacked on top of each other. As far as the designs or the standards for approval, I believe we've already listed out the staff conclusion on that. The applicant has provided their own narrative on that, and then it's ultimately up to you and the city council to make a judgment on those as well. And then as far as the design standards for multifamily, I would note that we have done a thorough process of having the applicant identify every single minimum standard they do not comply with. And they have listed all of those out as exceptions in their ODP.
Okay.
So if that's what they meant, then I believe we've identified the ones they do not meet.
Right, okay, so this meets the vast majority of the standards for multifamily housing.
Correct, and they have identified all of the exceptions that they do not meet.
Right, okay, thank you. Any other questions from commissioners?
Yeah.
Commissioner Dunn.
Just a quick question for Jacob, Heath, all the staff. How much of the information that we are getting here tonight is researchable public information?
Yes, Commissioner Dunn. So every single document that the city gets, unless it's been marked confidential for some reason or it's not accessible under the CORA, Colorado Open Records Act, every single document the city has is a public record, and it's accessible very simply by just emailing or calling me and asking for it, or you can submit a CORA request through the city clerk's office. We do have a public website that is used to process all of our development applications and our permits. That's called eTrackIt. Develop.cityofwestminster.eTrackIt, I believe is the address. You can go on there, type in this project name, type in the project number, search criteria, and you can pull up every single document that the applicant submits. So I would say every single thing is publicly available already.
So does that include, for example, any application to any state or federal body?
I couldn't speak about those as I'm not a representative of either a state or federal body, but if they're submitted to the city, then yes, it would be a public record. I'm not sure about specific state and federal bodies.
Thank you, sir.
I would like to add one more comment about this project, and that is I am very happy to see the multi-use application in this, because I believe that mixing, for instance, the Head Start, putting it where it's needed, is a really wonderful attribute of this project, and I applaud it. And I will be supporting this. Any other comments? Oh, Commissioner Kinnear.
Thank you. Question for applicant, and this might be the last hair of the tail of the dog, perhaps, but there were a number of comments about the trails through this property and related properties. The question is there a plan other than a crosswalk for connecting trails east and west of Federal Boulevard?
Yes, sir. I'll just comment overall and then have Kaylee address it. I think east and west of Federal, right, is the question, kind of the core of it.
Is there going to be connectivity other than through crosswalks?
Yeah, I think crosswalks there. I think the full movement intersection, which is a crosswalk at 86th and Federal, that's been such a challenge. As you know, there's not sidewalks on either side of Federal today. The other thing, and I know this is just to the east of Federal, but actually just above the PLD that's there, we're actually doing kind of a trailhead to actually connect to the Highland Hills Park, Cammage Park, and the trail there. So we're actually kind of making this effectively a trailhead, trying to pull those in. So, sir, we're looking in a lot of ways. I know that's going east, right? But trying to do that, and then we understand that Federal movement. We don't have anything else just because of the volume of traffic on Federal other than crossing crosswalks that crosses across Federal.
Thank you.
Sure. We do, you know, that's a BRT. That's probably something that we continue to develop with them if there's a stop that gets aligned there between 88th and 84th.
Commissioner Pegg.
Sure, I have two comments. The first one is your bike racks. It's easier to lock a bike to the upside down U-shaped ones. And then I'm very pleased to see daycare on the site. Thank you.
Commissioner Zhang.
Yeah, I have a few comments. First, I think it's awesome that you have a Head Start program. I think it's going to serve families, and the affordability component of this is amazing. But my last comment, I think, is probably more towards the city. I think it's a little bit concerning, and I want to echo what David brought up, that we continue to provide exceptions for plans and proposals. 15, although the applicants provide justifications, and I think they're reasonable, but it feels like we continue to give exceptions after exceptions, and I think that's, for me at least, that's a cause of concern that the standards provided by the city may not be meeting the needs of developers, community members, and I just want to flag that. That is my comment.
Thank you. All right, can we get a motion on this item? Commissioner Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Planning Commission recommend City Council approve the official development plan for Uplands Filing 3, Block 1, Tract B. This recommendation is based on a finding that the official development plan is supported by the criteria set forth in sections 11-5-15 of the Westminster Municipal Code.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Kinnear. All right, we have a motion in front of us. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, I will call the question. I believe this is a roll call.
Commissioner Pegg.
I approve.
Commissioner Kinnear.
Yes.
Commissioner Zhang.
Yes.
Commissioner Mayo.
Yes.
Acting Chair Carpenter.
Acting Vice Chair.
Excuse me, sorry.
And yes.
Just wanted to see if you're on your toes. Chairperson Boschert.
Yes.
And Commissioner Dunn.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you for your presentation, and Jacob, thank you for your work on this. Do we have any other business we need to discuss? Old or new? Next meeting is the 23rd, is that correct? Okay. All right, seeing no other business, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everyone.